Hey guys, Jess here from Knockout Print Shop, and today I have a video for you on how to use your horizontal planner, doesn't matter the brand, as a health and wellness or health and fitness planner. So I'm going to kind of talk you through a few of the things that I think are essential to get into your planner if you are tracking or using your planner for health and wellness, and then I'm going to show you the spread I came up with that was inspired by one of our customers, Carla. Okay, so there is 5 things that I think are important to get into your planner if you are using it kind of primarily as a health and wellness planner. Now, a lot of people use their planner, whatever planner they're using, for planning certain elements of health and wellness, whether it's, planning dinners out, when they're going to grocery shop, all of that. So you can use your planner to, inject little pieces of health and wellness things into your regular weekly spread. But this is going to be more about using this planner only for health and wellness. Okay, so number 1, I think, is using it as a food log. Now, I've done videos before about this, and I just want to note to everybody that you need to be careful with food logs, because food logs can be there's a slippery slope. They can become obsessive and not a useful tool if we do this ongoingly. I definitely think 2 weeks to a month of food logging is enough to A, give you the data you need, and B, help you start to make changes. What can happen if we kind of ongoingly track our food is we can really get obsessed with the different little details and get lost in calorie counting and macro counting, and it just becomes a really fruitless kind of endeavor. So what we want to approach food logging as is a way to get some real, raw, honest data. We're looking at our habits, our eating habits, we're looking at the kind of foods that we're eating, and use that data to then go, okay, I can see I'm eating, too much junk or fun food. I need to start shifting this or whatever. So I think using your planner as a food log can be very helpful. In this spread that I'm going to show you, just kept it simple. I tracked my breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I put what I ate at each meal, and that was enough for kind of my purposes. There's a few other little nuanced add-ons you can do to this to kind of enhance this food logging process if you need to get more data. So one of those would be to also track your hunger and fullness levels, meaning prior to eating, tracking on a 1 to 10 scale how hungry you are. If you're waiting to eat until you're starving, okay, well that's good data to get, because if this is a perpetual habit, we need to be assessing okay, there's a reason I'm waiting till I'm primally hungry and want to eat my dog. So that's useful. Or if I'm eating when I'm barely hungry, why am I scared of hunger? Anyways, we can get into this all day, all the different little nuances of it. But tracking hunger and fullness are very important. Full, am I overeating? Am I under, am I eating and I'm still a little bit hungry? Why am I never letting myself feel satisfied? All of that data can be super important, depending on where you are at in your process. The other thing that you can do is track satisfaction. So if you're always eating meals that just don't satisfy you, that's important. So you could take this simple, what did I have for breakfast, lunch, and dinner? You could add some maybe numbers on it, say this is my hunger level, my fullness level, satisfaction level. So you can make this a lot more detailed than I'm going to show you, but make sure you're spending some time, if this is an area of your life you're working on, getting some data about what you're eating. Okay, number 2 is using a space on your planner for daily movement tracking, whether that is how many steps you're taking per day, your duration of walk. Maybe you just go take a 30-minute walk. Maybe you don't care about steps. Maybe you just put, okay, did a 5-minute walk today, did a 30-minute walk today. Somewhere on there where you can kind of track how much daily movement you're getting. I'm not talking about structured exercise, daily movement. So again, just walking around. So that's super important, because a lot of people get really hung up on the idea that structured exercise, fitness classes, programs, things like that are the number 1 thing you need to do to get healthy, and it really, really isn't. It's more about our food and our daily movement. When we're eating like garbage and we are really sedentary, that's going to have a greater impact, negatively impact our health, than if we're still sitting on our butt all day and we're not eating great, but we're exercising 3 times a week. It's the benefits of eating better and moving more outweigh a structured exercise. So number 2 is daily movement. Okay, number 3 is sleep. Sleep is really important. You've probably heard me talk about this before in other health and wellness videos, but tracking your sleep at least for 2 weeks, depending on where you're at, maybe you only need a week, but 2 weeks, a month, whatever, It'd be really great to give you the data. Is your bedtime all over the place? Is your wake up time all over the place? Are you only getting 5 hours of sleep a night? Okay, so then if we have this data and we see these trends, what do we do? Do we improve our AM and PM routine? Do we change something about our sleeping environment? Those are important things that we can integrate using our planner to gather that data. Number 4 is your structured exercise. So obviously, ideally, you are doing some kind of structured exercise, hopefully strength training based, but depending on your fitness goals, maybe it's, some kind of other pursuit, whether that be, running or something else, but structured exercise. So meaning you dedicate 20, 30 minutes, an hour to a certain type of exercise, a strength training routine, your run for the day, some kind of fitness class, something like that. So structured exercise, we want to put that in our planner too to see our consistency there. And last but not least is mood. So this isn't something I typically track, but it can be really important if that part of health and wellness is something that you're curious about. So is my food choices and my eating habits affecting my mood? Do I find myself constantly stressed? If you are constantly stressed, that will affect health and weight loss goals. So figuring out how your mood plays into all of this can be definitely an important part of the puzzle to many people. So we're going to put that in the spread as well. So you'll see that here in a second. And last but not least, this is kind of your add-on. If you're somebody that has health problems, GI, digestive issues, maybe you have hormonal issues, emotional, like anxiety, depression kind of issues, and you're trying to figure out if the foods that you're eating are affecting any of those symptoms, what I would also add on here is as you're writing your meal for that, breakfast, lunch, or dinner, maybe you also use this to track symptoms. So let's say you have breakfast, a couple hours later, you notice you're bloated, you have a headache, you can note those things. So I think any symptoms you have, if you're somebody that's struggling with various, again, maybe health issues or just things you don't understand that are going on in your body, it's a good idea to track some of that data in your planner. So I'm gonna flip the camera over, show you my Inkwell Press Flex horizontal planner and kind of what I did, inspired again by our customer Carla, and show you some ways that you can use your planner to track all this data, and then again talk a little bit more how you can add on the extra pieces that I talked about. Okay, so here is my health planner layout in my Inkwell Press Flex horizontal, whatever you want to call it. Whether you're using an Inkwell, Erin Condren, Makse, horizontal layouts like this are pretty much consistent across the board. Obviously, Inkwell's got these 3 little daily boxes here that I designated for different things, but if you just had one box like in the Makse planner or Erin Condren, you can easily put these 3 categories over there without having like dedicated boxes. Okay, so let me kind of walk you through the elements that we talked about already. So what I did here, and I'll show you the stickers that I use for each piece. I took our little outlined mini hexes and I put 3 of them on each day, every other line with a B, an L, and a D, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We don't eat snacks, so we just have 3 meals a day. So I just went in and indicated what I ate for each meal. On this particular Monday, I wasn't hungry, which isn't very common. I think I was still getting over the flu at this point, so we did not eat lunch that day. I think it's depending on what you're tracking, what you're focused on, what your concerns are with your eating habits, you can be as detailed and general as you need to be. So you can see on this day, I wrote down every ingredient that was in that particular meal. And then down here, like tacos, stuffed peppers, I'm just putting the general name of the meal or the recipe that we ate. Now, if you're somebody that needs more nuance, more detail, because either A, you're dealing with different symptoms and you need to see if you're reacting to certain things, physically, emotionally, whatever, then I would go with a more detailed documentation of each meal. If you're just going for figuring out meal timing, meal habits, you can keep it general. Try one way and see if you have the data that you need, and then make the adjustments from there to your habits and see how that goes. If you find that being more general didn't give you enough data and the tweaks you made in relation to that data did not get you anywhere, go back and track again and get more nuanced with it. So again, you're going to have to kind of decide what you need and play around with it, but I definitely think using this big space here on the left to track your food is a good use of space. Also, I think if you're eating more than 3 times a day, you can definitely add a snack one in here. This gives you enough space to write down the details of your meal if you in fact eat more than 3 meals a day. I don't recommend macro or calorie counting. Obviously, if that's your jam, go for it. You can add that maybe underneath here in that second line. But I think food, what you're eating as the food products, whether will give you the data that you need. I'm not a proponent of macro or calorie counting. Okay, so you would go ahead and obviously do that for all 6 days or 7 days. Then what I did from there, let's shift over to the right side. So again, using the daily boxes here in Inkwell Press, but you can use this, do the same layout if you had a just a big box here for that space. So the top one I went ahead and used so here's the ones I used for the breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Obviously you can do this without a sticker. You can write BLD there. Wait a second, let me stop for 1 second and go back. The other thing we can add here that we talked about a little bit before was the time of the meal. I think adding meal time, so if you shift this over a little bit maybe and put the time of each meal, that would be helpful as well, so you can see your meal frequency and your meal timing. You could also indicate hunger and fullness. Like you could easily go, okay, well I had this at 9 a.m., I ate here at 1 p.m., and I ate here at 7 p.m. And that's going to give you an understanding of like how your meal spacing is, things like that. You could also go in here and put like an H for hunger. Maybe your hunger scale was a 9. Maybe you were starving when you woke up, and you could put an F here for fullness, you know, whatever. I will try to remember on this video to also post the intuitive eating hunger fullness scale, because I know I'm messing it up right now, but you get the idea. You could definitely put your hunger level. I mean, you might want to put actually hunger, I don't know, up here before, and then fullness down here. And that way you can go, oh, I was at a 9, I was like primal hunger, and then fullness, I was at a 10. I'm doing this totally wrong, so I'm gonna have to post this for you guys because it's, never mind. Point being is, whatever scale you're using, hunger, maybe put that before so you can gauge the hunger, and fullness afterwards. The other thing you could do here too is maybe you're like, okay, ate this, and then at 12 p.m. maybe you felt bloated or something like that. Again, so if you're tracking symptoms, you have room to write, is my point. You can obviously add different stickers in for this. Maybe you want to use some kind of sticker for each of these ones, or maybe you want to use a highlighter to indicate like highlighting a reaction to a food, things like that. So now this looks a bit messy as I'm trying to like brainstorm ideas on the go, but you get the idea. Okay, so then let's go back here to the sleep. So then I used our little sleep icon, put that in the top box here, put rise time and bedtime. I think that's super important to put not only with quantity of hours slept, but this will give you an understanding of your habits with your rise time and your bedtime. You could write much smaller than I did and also put in the hours slept if you'd like, and that way you can see the quantity of hours that you're sleeping each night and see what's going on there. So I think tracking that's super important. Let's go down to the next one. So the next thing I did was I took our outlined boxes and I put that in here, just wrote mood. This again, you don't have to use a box. You could definitely just simply write on your planner, but I kind of wanted to break it up a little bit, so I used these, and then I just wrote the mood for each day in each one of those boxes. So that's definitely something you could use. You could definitely move this over here and use this box for something else, maybe hydration tracking. I forgot to grab that sticker, but you could definitely use another box here for hydration tracking. Move your mood somewhere else. You could move sleep up here, maybe rise time, bedtime, sleep, and then use these boxes differently. But these are just elements, again, that you want to use in a health planner, but you can kind of finagle where these go and play around with that. Okay, so next we move on to structured exercise. For me, that's a strength training program, primarily using kettlebells. So I used our kettlebell icon here. I train Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So I use that. You can use the dumbbell icon, whatever you're doing. This day I didn't work out because I was still recovering from the flu. And then for me, because I follow a structured program, I have a workout A, B, and C. So I just work out, write the A, B, or C. So Monday's A, Wednesday's B, Friday's C, and then what week I'm on. This week I was on week 4. I don't write any notes about the workout or anything like that. I just write there that it was completed. If something were to come up, which rarely does, I would write that I didn't work out. If your structured exercise is not strength training related, we also have like the yoga icon, we have a spin bike icon, we have an indoor rower. So we have a lot of different fitness icons that you could use to map out and track your consistency with your structured exercise. Okay, then I put in our little shoe icon down here on every other day. So for me, the way I used this is I put the shoe icon down the days that we were gonna do long intentional walks, meaning that was kind of our exercise for the day. So this was, we didn't go because it was raining, so I indicated that there. You could tell I didn't finish this whole spread, but you know, I would have put maybe my duration of steps, most likely, because what I've done in the past is I like to write down how long the actual walk was. So maybe it was 2 miles, 3 miles, whatever. So that's what I use them for. If you're somebody that is trying to generally hit a step goal or a walk duration goal per day, you would want to probably use one of these every single day. This particular layout is specific to how I structure my health and wellness throughout the week. But you could, again, move these different parts around, get rid of the parts that don't work for you. Put the little shoe every single day. I mean, you could put the shoe here, you know, and write down your steps right there, and then open up another box to do something else with. So those are the main stickers, I think, and the components, whether you use stickers or not, that you're going to want to track. Your daily movement indicated by a shoe icon or the word steps somewhere in your planner, tracking your sleep, rise, bedtime, and duration, tracking your structured exercise in whatever form that comes in, tracking your mood in some way. I feel like we need a mood sticker of some sort. I like the idea of writing a word down for mood versus like a smiley face or color coding it, because I think it gives you a little more detail that is important to note and is more informative. So I just use the outline boxes, and like I said, the hexagons indicated breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And you can, again, get in here a lot more complex and go into hunger, fullness, symptoms, all that. Another thing you may want to do, depending on where you're at, what you're focused on, you could obviously use hydration stickers to track hydration. Not something I do, and I forgot to grab one to show you. We have a couple different options there. The other things I grabbed here just to show you that are not relevant to my health and wellness planning would be the scale sticker or the non-scale victory stickers. So if you're somebody that does weigh yourself, I'm not a huge proponent of tracking your progress based on weight. I think if you do weigh yourself, weekly is the max. Monthly is probably a little bit more effective as far as like not getting obsessive with it. So as long as you're using it to see trends and not going crazy with, I did all this stuff this week and the scale didn't move. You want to be careful with weighing yourself. So it can backfire. But if it's something that you need to do for yourself that is helpful, then I would say getting a scale sticker, maybe putting it somewhere at the end of the week or whatever day you weigh yourself, and then writing that data there so you have that guy. The reason I like this sticker better is it focuses on a monthly weigh-in and weekly non-scale victories. So a non-scale victory is going to be something you want to track that's not related to your weight. Whether it's, I got all 3 workouts done this week, I hit my 10,000 step goal every day, I got, 8 hours of sleep 3 times, I did, my first full push-up, or I, made it to all my yoga classes, I got that I did, my squat was better this week, whatever it is, something that's relevant more to the process that you're in versus that outcome of weight. And then obviously you can put that, somewhere maybe down here in the notes section. So that can be a really helpful tool to keep you kind of tuned into your progress and your motivation. Okay, and then last but not least, we don't have these in the 2020 colors yet, but I thought this sidebar sticker could be a useful tool as well. You can maybe throw that down here or in the notes section, and you can use this a plethora of different ways. Maybe you want to track steps here, so you put your steps. So that's, maybe you don't, you're using all these boxes up for something else, so you keep steps here. Maybe you want to put your hours slept here. Maybe you want to put a daily win. Something related to your health, a daily win or a daily highlight, and really digging for those nuggets of things that you've done well, accomplishments, so you can really stay focused on the process versus getting too attached to the outcome. So that's another one that I didn't particularly use, but I think could be a great sticker for a plethora of reasons. So here we have it, a way to use your horizontal planner for health and fitness. Obviously, you can take this same concept and apply it to vertical. The benefit you have with horizontal is you have a lot more writing space when it comes to a food journal. With the vertical, with the skinny columns, that is a little bit more challenging. Depending on your writing size and all of that. Okay, so I hope you found that helpful. Let me know if you have any questions about using your planner for health and wellness. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video.